Okay, our next question. Will I lose my insurance coverage if I don't take this test or call in? So there's a issue going on right now. See one of my previous videos about a month ago about all the telemarketing that's going on, and you shouldn't be telemarketed. But a spin on the ball right now is people are getting called saying you need to take a test, you need to go in for some sort of service or treatment, or you need to call in to do such and such, or you will lose your insurance coverage. That's actually two different things. So I want to step back, take them one at a time, and I'll start with the one that is legit. At least at sometimes it's legit, and that is if you get a letter or a phone call that says you have to call in for some reason or another. First of all, know who your insurance company is, the name of your company, the name of your plan. Most people know the name of their plan by their insurance company. There's very few plans out there where the name of the company is also the name of the plan, especially if you've got one of the big name companies, and I don't give names of companies on this channel, but you know what I'm talking about. If it's a company that you saw advertised on TV, it's a big company. Those companies don't have their plans out by the name of their companies. They have them out by a name. Know what the name of your plan is. Now, that company can call you and say, hey, there is a problem. You need to call us back. If they leave you a message, you need to call us back by such and such a day. Your insurance could be in jeopardy. That is a possibility. There's a number of things that could actually jeopardize your insurance. If you have a type of plan that has a premium and you don't pay that premium, you could lose that insurance. They will want to call you to say, hey, please pay your premium so your insurance is not in trouble. There are types of Medicare Advantage plans where you have to meet certain criteria to get the plan. They are called special needs plans. You either need to be on Medicaid as well as Medicare, and they either can't validate your coverage with Medicaid, or they were notified that you lost your coverage, and they're going to want to talk to you about the fact that there is a chance you will lose this coverage because you lost the Medicaid coverage. There is also a type of plan that you can only get if you are in an institution. And if you are in an institution and they either cannot validate that information, or they see that you are leaving the institution, your plan could be in jeopardy. There is a type of Medicare Advantage plan that you can only get when you have a certain health issue. Generally, Medicare Advantage plans don't ask health questions. There is a type where they can ask health questions, and if they do ask you a health question, and they are going to then try to verify it with the doctor. Now, there's different ways the different companies are going to do this. Every company is a little bit different in terms of how they want to verify doctor information. The key is, if they can't get that information, they're going to call you to help. If they can't get a hold of you, your plan might be in jeopardy. So, if you get a call saying call the insurance company, there is a chance that your plan is in jeopardy if you do not take such and such actions. That could be a legitimate call. Here's how you know if it's a legitimate call. They should be able to identify themselves by the name of the insurance company that you have. If they identify them as your insurance carrier, they usually, not always, but usually will also identify the name of the plan you have on the call. This is if they're leaving a message or if they are actually talking to you. They're not like bill collectors, where they're going to do whatever they can to get you on the phone. they are going to identify themselves because they know that you are a population that is particularly vulnerable to scam calls. So they are going to identify themselves to help you determine that they are determine that they are not a scam. So if that is a legit call, look for identifying marks in the call. They will identify who they are. They don't always give a name of who's calling, but they generally, they a lot of times will. I've got a couple of companies that are extremely meticulous about making sure that whoever calls gives the name of who's calling. So that's the first thing. You'll know it's a legitimate call if they identify the plan and you have the plan. So make sure that you know what plan you have. If you get a call and they say that there is a trouble with your insurance, the other person who might call and say you have a problem with the plan would be me. So if you are my client or put any other agent in my place, if I notice that there is a potential problem with your insurance, you can bet I'm going to give you a call. Now, depending on the type of insurance, I may or may not be able to identify that problem. Don't think that the broker or the agent anymore can see all problems. Depending on the type of coverage that you have, we can see a lot. If you have a Medicare supplement, depending on the company, I can see just about everything. I've also got a few other supplements that will call me before they call you for many problems. You sign releases when you sign up for a Medicare supplement so that we, the brokers, can help you so that it's an identifiable voice, an identifiable person, an identifiable phone number that's going to reach out to you to make it easier. If it's Medicare Advantage, I may not know the issue. I may not know there's a problem. It depends on the company, depends on the year. Sometimes I can't sometimes I'll have no idea this is going on. Same with a prescription drug plan. They follow, in this case, the same rules as the Medicare Advantage plans. I may not know, but if I do know, if I'm made aware that there is a problem, or if I look on my book of business within that company, and I see that there is a problem, and keep in mind, I cannot always do that, but if I can, I'm going to try to head up the call that the insurance company will give, just so that you can hear from somebody that you are more likely to realize is a legit call. So, legit calls come from insurance companies who identify themselves, or the broker that is in charge of your coverage, in charge of watching over your coverage for you. Now, when it's not a legit call, here's what to look for. First of all, they don't identify themselves by a company. Even a legit call may not identify themselves by the specific plan you have, but they'll identify themselves as the company. So if you get a call from someone that it's your insurance carrier trying to get a hold of you, and they just say your insurance carrier, that's not legit. That is not that is somebody just going out and trying to fish and see what they can catch in their net to see who they can get. So right there, that is not a call that is legit. The next thing is they don't identify themselves. If they just say, "Hey, there's an issue, please call us at," don't answer those calls. Don't deal with those calls. They're not correct. If they say they're from a government agency, I am not aware. The only agency with relation to your health care when you're on an individual Medicare plan is CMS, which is part of HHS. HHS is the Department of Health and Human Services. Medicare is CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. I'm not aware of them calling you unsolicited. Now, they do make outgoing calls to beneficiaries. That's you. They do make outgoing calls, but they generally do that by appointment. Usually, except when there's not an appointment scheduled, they will reach out to you primarily by letter. They could, I suppose, reach out to you by regular phone. I'm not really aware of them I'm not aware of them doing that. The commonly accepted way of reaching out when it's Medicare is primarily through the mail. So it's not the government agency. There's no other government agency really involved with your health care. Peripherally, Social Security is also involved. But Social Security generally works with Medicare. Social Security may actually call you about some things related to Social Security, but they don't usually call with relation to Medicare. Usually it's Medicare calling you, and again, only by appointment. So other government agencies, usually not. I actually, and this is me personally, I got a call about 3-4 months ago now from they said they were the Ohio Department of Insurance trying to call to reach out to tell me that I need to get life insurance. That was a very unusual phone call. First thing that happened was I tried to think in my mind, did I hear that correctly? Why would the Department of Insurance be calling me? Because the Department of Insurance does not usually call. Usually they will send a letter. Again, they might call, but it's highly more likely that they're going to send a letter saying, hey, you call in. Just about every insurance company I have, if there is an issue, they will send me some sort of written communication rather than call, unless it is very time sensitive, like if there's a client that's going through underwriting or something. So government agencies the same way. Unless there's something highly time sensitive, usually their first step is not going to be to make a phone call. So be aware of that. So answering the first part of the question, what happened? Can I lose my coverage if I don't call in? That part of the answer is maybe. You can lose that cover if it's something related to your having the coverage. It could be, but they will identify themselves as being from your plan. Is there a potential for a scam after that because they guessed right? Yeah, there is. I'm sorry. There's only so much you can do to protect yourself. Take the call and make a judgment after that. But if they identify what company they're from, it's a good bit that they've got some business for you that they need to discuss. Will you lose the insurance, though? So, yeah, there's that. Now, the other part, do I need to take this test or I'll lose the insurance? There is a scam going around right now. There is an actual scam going on that says that, we are being warned by the insurance carriers. In Ohio, the Department of Insurance has been warning people, and I think even Medicare is starting to warn people nationally. Medicare is not requiring genetic tests for everybody. Medicare is not requiring wellness visits for everyone. Medicare itself is an entitlement program. You have to meet certain requirements to get Medicare Part A, and to be enrolled in Medicare Part B, you have to meet the requirements and pay the premium that they want, depending on what it is for the year that you're listening to this. You just have to pay it. Most of you are getting it deducted from Social Security. If you're not getting it deducted from Social Security, you're just paying it. As long as you're doing those things and you remain an American citizen, you get Medicare. It's not going to be taken away from you. Now, is Medicare encouraging tests? You get a book every year called the Medicare and You book. In it, they list a series of preventative services in the book. So in those preventative services, those are all the things that Medicare says that they will pay for. But only your doctor is going to be the one encouraging you to get that stuff done. Except for you. You can, of course, do whatever you want, but the doctor is going to be the one who's going to encourage it. Medicare is not going to encourage you to take any kind of test. So genetic testing is not something that Medicare is normally on board with. If a doctor orders it as medically necessary, it might be, but it's not something you got to do. Another test, a blood pressure test, a cholesterol test, something like that, that's not something Medicare says you have to do to get Medicare. You just have to be a citizen, have your pay your Medicare Part B premium, continue your enrollment in Medicare, and you're not going to get dropped from Medicare. So what about the insurance? Can the insurance drop you? Well, if you have a Medicare supplement and you don't pay the premium, you will be dropped. Other than that, as long as you maintain your enrollment in Medicare and you the insurance company continues to be in business, the supplement's good. The supplement stays in force for as long as you live. It's called guaranteed renewable. It can't be dropped as long as you pay the premium and you continue to be, you meet the criteria, which is you're enrolled in Medicare. That's it. No test, no nothing is a requirement to maintain your insurance if you have a supplement. Now, a prescription drug plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, generally you're in the plan all year. There's certain reasons you can get out of it, like if you move out of the plan's area. The plan, there is a very small chance that they could drop you in the middle of the year. Drop everybody in the middle of the year if basically their contract is terminated by Medicare or they terminate the contract. I wouldn't be concerned about that sort of thing. I saw it once 2 years ago. Before that, the last time I saw it was about 7, 8, 9 years ago. Almost 10 years ago. So it's very rare that an insurance company is going to drop their contract in the middle of the year. Most likely what would happen is they would drop the contract at the end of the year. So your insurance is not going to drop you. Now, can they drop you if you don't do a certain test? If you have a special needs plan, or in other words, your eligibility to enroll in that plan is dependent on you having some type of additional requirement, and you don't meet the requirement, then yeah, you can be dropped from the plan. But a test, a blood pressure test, something like that, no, it's not something that can happen. That is a scam. You don't have to have a cholesterol test to remain in a Medicare Advantage plan. Insurance companies generally, as a rule, what they'll do in terms of encouragement is they'll encourage you to say, they'll encourage you with some sort of remuneration, either a gift card or some sort of perk or something like that for you to do a test or something like that. And the insurance company may call you about that. But remember, when they do that, they'll identify themselves as being from that insurance company. Other than that, insurance companies generally tend to leave you alone. I'm sorry, I know that that may be contrary to what some of you are thinking, but I assure you, when you are a client of the insurance company, they tend to leave you alone unless something's wrong. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan or a prescription drug plan, they actually do have to call you when you first enroll to make sure you understand what it is you're enrolling into. They also generally call you around September of every year just to make sure that you're aware of the changes that are going on. But aside from that, an insurance company is usually not going to contact you about something within the plan. Usually it would be someone like me, your broker, calling you, or it could be someone unsolicited, which kind of is a no-no in most cases, but that doesn't seem to stop too many people. So be aware. Just the key is look for identifying words. The biggest identifying word is, can they identify the name of the plan that you're in? And if they say Medicare, it's a scam. Medicare is not going to tell you to take any test. Medicare is not going to tell you to take any kind of insurance. Medicare is going to encourage you at least consider insurance, but Medicare is not going to tell you to take insurance. So I hope that helps. We are rounding up into our busy season in just a couple of weeks, so the videos are going to be kind of cutting off soon. But I did want to get this out because it's a question that we got, and it is concerning. I'm probably going to do another news video shortly about Medicare, because there's some big changes coming out with the official website, the Medicare.gov account. But aside from that, uh, be sure you contact somebody, and you go into this annual election period knowing what your changes are, what your options are, and what's out there. Remember, unless you have a Medicare supplement, if you have anything else, an Advantage plan or a prescription drug plan, that type of stuff, it changes the beginning of next year. So do make sure that you look over the plan that you've got and compare it, or have somebody compare for you with the other plans to see, because your plan is going to change going into next year, and you want to make sure that the coverage is going to remain suitable for you the next year. Our clients generally do not have many years in the same plan. They generally change every few years, just because the plans do change so frequently, and the competition to come down in price on so many plans is pretty high. So I might even make a 2-minute video about that. So please have a good October to December. Have a good open enrollment period, a good happy holidays, annual election period, a good happy holidays. We'll be back in January. If you got any questions, give us a call, send us an email, speak to a knowledgeable insurance representative that you trust to help you get through this each year. Don't rely on advertising. Thank you.